Podcast City Network.
Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Deleted Wrestling Podcast. Enjoy the show. It's wonderful.
What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Deleted Wrestling Podcast. I am Everett Lee. Happy Austin 316 Day. I said, what? I said Austin 316 Day. What? It's happy 316 Day. So let's open up a cold one and celebrate for one of the Texas Rattlesnake, one toughest son of a bitch, Stone Cold Steve Austin. What? That's my Steve Austin impersonation. If you're viewing right now, this is the Deleted Wrestling Podcast. You can follow more Deleted Wrestling Podcast on Podcasting Network over on podcasting.net. You can hit them up on Facebook, Podcasting Network, and of course on Twitter at PodcastCityNet. And joining me tonight on the Deleted Wrestling Podcast, as always, he is Mr. Deathmatch Russell. Talking about Mr. Deathmatch Russell Podcast, David C. Russell. How you doing there?
What? Happy Austin 316. You know what, Mr. Everett Lee?
What's up?
Let's get into some talking about the one and only Rattlesnake. You son of a bitch.
That's right.
Kick your candy ass sideways. I don't know. I want to do some mud holes. I'm gonna stomp some mud holes in your candy ass. All right.
Yeah.
Cheers to you, everyone. 316 just whipped your ass. How's
Happy
that?
316 Day, you son of a bitch. What? Hell yeah.
What?
316.
Just drink some beer? What?
That's it.
What?
Did you see
What?
the tweet? Did you
What?
see the tweet I sent out on my Everett Lee Show Twitter to Stone Cold Steve Austin? I put out there happy 316. He never did respond back because I tagged him in the post. Maybe he got it, maybe he didn't.
Did I?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, man.
What? We're gonna be
What?
punning all fucking night tonight.
What, you jackass?
What, you crazy son of a bitch? What?
It's going to be the what? Crazy son of a bitch is... Yo, we could go all out into Stone Cold tonight. Man, I feel like we could reveal his past to, like, ECW days to, like, you know, we could just...
Well, this whole thing tonight is a tribute to Stone Cold Steve Austin since it's 316. And
Yeah.
one thing I got to say is about Stone Cold Steve Austin is that he was one of my favorite wrestlers back during the Attitude Era. When I was a teenager during the Attitude Era, man, he did some crazy stuff, man. And it was awesome watching him each and every night on Monday Night Raw, what he did and what he delivered with being one of the toughest SOBs in WWF, WWE, however the hell you want to call it. Because the way things started out, Steve Austin did not become an overnight success, in the WWF, WWE, because he had a long road ahead of him. And that started out on December 18th, 1964, when he was born as Stephen James Williams, and known by Steve Williams as his real name. He basically had a mid-career success as Stunning Steve Austin back in World Championship Wrestling. And, of course, we all know how he got his name, because when he showed up in, I forget where it was, over in, I'm looking it up right here.
Memphis somewhere.
Memphis.
NW.
Yeah, in Dallas, in World WCCW. He wrestled in he joined Chris Adams' school in Dallas there, in Dallas, Texas. And he showed up going and working in Memphis, and he was booked by Dutch Mantell. You may remember him as Zep Coulter on with Jack Swagger back a few years ago in WWE. Well, he showed up and said his name's Steve Williams. And he's like, no, Dutch told him, you can't be Steve Williams. We already have a Steve Williams. And he basically, he basically said, no, you can't be Steve Williams. We have Dr. Death Steve Williams. He said, come up with a name, come back with me. So Steve thought and tried to think of a name to come up with. He never did come up with a name. So when he came back, Dutch told him, he said, you're from Austin, right? Yeah, you're from Texas? Yeah. Well, you're Steve Austin. And that's how he got the name. And so he wrestled in WCCW. He went up against people like Chris Adams. He wrestled for like $40 per day. He basically made his way into World Championship Wrestling. He was joined later by Janine Adams, known as Lady Blossom. Just weeks after his debut, Austin defeated Bobby Eaton in his first WCW World Television Championship match on June 3rd, 1991. And then he later joined Polly Dangerously's Dangerous Alliance, Paul Heyman, for those. Austin, he lost the WCW Television Championship to Barry Windham in a 2 out of 3 falls match on April 27th, 1992. And then he regained the title from Windham on May 23rd. And he had a pretty lengthy reign as champion before he lost it to Ricky Steamboat on September 2nd. But while the Dangerous Alliance disbanded shortly after there, at Halloween Havoc on October 25th, Austin replaced Terry Gordy, teaming with Dr. Death Steve Williams to wrestle Dustin Rhodes and Wyndham for the unified WCW and WA.
I remember that time.
Yeah, they wrestled for the WCW
It's like
NWA World
flashbacks, man.
Tag Team
Flashbacks to the day, and don't forget about.
Yeah, back in the day, those were good days.
I mean, the career he had, my God.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep going. We're going to roll into it here.
They really were.
Roll into
I mean, look back, man. It is.
Yeah. I mean, look back.
It's going to be a rattlesnake. Rattlesnake that.
Now I'm gonna read this off, and after it, I want to get your thoughts on this. Okay. All right. In January '93. He was paired up with Brian Pillman. In documentaries and interviews, he was told he was supposed to have a singles run and go for the United States Championship. He was supposed to be a U.S. champion singles run. Then they paired him up with Brian Pillman, and Brian approached him backstage and said, "Hey, we're a tag team." He's like, "What? We're not a tag team." So he went to talk to Dusty as like some last minute changes. So he teamed up with Brian Pillman, and became known as the Hollywood Blondes. They won the Unified World Tag Team Championships on March 3rd when they defeated Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas and held the titles for about 5 months. Then at Clash of Champions 23, on June 16th, the Blondes faced Ric Flair and Arn Anderson in a 2 out of 3 falls tag team match where they were defeated, but retained the titles as one fall has been determined by disqualification. Wow. At Clash of Champions 25 on August 18th, Austin and Pillman were scheduled to defend the titles against Anderson and Paul Roma, but in legitimate injury, Paul Pillman was replaced by Steven Regal, whom Austin lost to he lost the titles to Anderson and Roma. Pillman was still injured, so Austin joined the Colonel Robert Parker stud stable. And after Pillman returned, Austin betrayed Pillman and defeated him in a single matches on Clash of Champions 25 on November 10th. And at Starrcade, Austin defeated Dustin Rhodes in a 2 out of 3 falls match with 2 straight falls to win the WCW United States Championship, which was a hell of a match. You need to check that out.
WCW. Yeah.
W. But then Austin lost the title to Steamboat on the 24th and on August 24th, 1994, and he was scheduled to face Steamboat in a rematch for the title at Fall Brawl on September 18th. But Steamboat was unable to wrestle due to injury. So Austin was awarded the title by forfeit. His second reign ended just minutes later when he lost to Steamboat's replacement, Jim Duggan. And the match lasted 35 seconds. And then from there on, after returning from knee injury in 1995, Austin took part in a tournament for the vacated WCW United States title, where he defeated Duggan in a countout in the first round, but lost to Randy Savage in the quarterfinals. In 1995, the infamous firing of Steve Austin by Eric Bischoff. He basically sent him a FedEx letter and said, "You're fired." He didn't call him up or anything, so he was pissed. Okay. Talking about his WCW days, tell me, David, what do you most remember from his WCW days?
Man, growing up, just whatever matches he kept on going at. When his career he launched, ECW. That's what I wanted to more reach out to. But WCW, when he made his name known as Austin, Stunning Steve Austin at the time. Right? Am I right? That was his name in WCW.
Yeah, Stunning Steve Austin. Yeah.
And then, because I don't know, I really never followed the whole career through that period of WCW. More flashback, I'd go back to the ECW before, when he's there. I caught a couple. I watched a lot of that era of him, and then when he launched himself into WWF,
yeah,
making his career, and starting out as a Rattlesnake in Boston, just performing in front of everybody and showing why he's why he was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and just the attitude that he had, bringing it to the ring every single week versus the opponents. I mean, he made his name known.
Yeah,
to all the WrestleManias. Just believe that. Think about it.
Yeah, he definitely did.
My favorite WrestleMania moment has to be. I mean, there's tons. We were talking about matches. If I had to pick, I'm not going to even go down to top 5, top 3. I'm just going to say Bret Hart. When he wrestled Bret Hart. It was a good match, very technical, skilled match.
Let me back it up there before we start talking into our favorite matches or favorite moments here. I want to go back into right after he left. He was fired. Actually, fired from WCW.
Bad, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Bad.
That's fine.
Sorry about that.
But Austin, okay.
Sorry about that.
He was contacted by Paul Heyman, okay, who was already up at up north there with Eastern Championship Wrestling, which became ECW, became Extreme Championship Wrestling. He was contacted by Paul Heyman, who he also had a relationship with when Heyman was back in WCW. Heyman basically hired Austin to do in-ring interviews because at that time, David, Austin was injured. He told him, he said, "I can't wrestle." He's like, "Well, you know what?" He basically gave him a mic and he said, "Let people know how you feel." So this was in a way of the start of the early foundations laying down for what would become Stone Cold Steve Austin in ECW. While he was in ECW, he basically used a platform to develop, his Stone Cold persona, as well as a series of promos and vignettes running down WCW, Eric Bischoff mostly, and several promos that mocked his then status as Nitro host and introducing Monday NyQuil. where he basically he banged on drum, bongo set of drums and stuff and everything, and I mean, he just basically said, where the big boys play with each other. He made that crack and joke at that. And then there's also several wrestlers credited to ECW at the place where Austin developed his mic skills. Austin was, credited Heyman as the man who taught him how to cut a promo, because Heyman's great at it, even still to this day. But while he was in ECW, he dropped the Stunning Steve Austin gimmick, and he was known as Superstar Steve Austin. And he had a match with Sandman, and he feuded with the infamous Mikey Whipwreck. And Whipwreck, who was the ECW champion at the time, defeated Austin for the title on November 18th. And during that time, Austin learned Whipwreck's finishing move, the Whippersnapper, and would adapt it and popularized it as the Stone Cold Stunner later on. The Sandman also, he defeated Austin and Whipwreck in a triple threat match at December 9th for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Heyman, later stated that he never wanted Austin to win the title, but Austin had refused because he felt he was more efficient as the hunter rather than the hunted. Okay, so you remember most of his stuff from his ECW time in his career and stuff?
ECW run.
Yeah, do you remember any of that?
That was great. That was great. Just the way he came into the ring, he showed who he was as just coming into it. You know what I mean? Like that was like the launch for him to really show what he was, but going under the name Steve, Stunning Steve Austin, at the time frame.
Yeah.
Got to remember that name really did not get changed over till, when WWE started his career, really.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Now, he did, after he did leave ECW, I'm looking it up here because I got the notes right here, which I forgot to share with you. Thank God for the internet. But one thing was right after he left ECW, he joined the WWF after Kevin Nash and Jim Ross helped convince Vince McMahon to hire him. He debuted on January 8th, a 1996 episode of Raw, and was awarded the $1 Million Championship by his manager, Ted DiBiase. Austin had his debut match on January 15th episode of Raw, where he defeated Matt Hardy, back then when Matt Hardy was still starting out. Initially, Austin, he was known as the Ringmaster, but his full name was acknowledged by announcers, although it was not part of his official billing. And while making his first pay-per-view appearance of Royal Rumble on January 21st, where it was scripted to be among the final 4 wrestlers in the ring, which would have given him an early push, however, Austin failed to hang on to the ropes after Fatu clotheslined him over and slipped out the ring early. Austin wrestled Savio Vega on a match, and many other times he had a
oh man, Savio Vega. Savio. I'm just jumping in there. Sorry.
No. Yeah.
Savio
Vega. What do you remember about Savio Vega?
There's like an old name. He's come down. What
do you remember about him? What do you remember about Savio Vega?
Just coming into the ring. Savio Vega. Yeah, just that Puerto Rican, pride, showing himself, going in the ring, whatever he can. He actually came to my area and wrestled at a local indie show one time.
Oh, you did? Yeah. That's great.
That's all I remember.
Yeah.
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 One time only.
Wow. But one thing.
But he's probably still doing appearances, making signing off.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably still around. I don't know really much if where he's at or anything, but where was I at? Okay. He basically defeated Vega in his first WrestleMania appearance at WrestleMania 12. Or not 12, excuse me. WrestleMania 9, I believe it is. I don't know. What's the X with the 1-1? I forget what that one is there. I'm going to have to pull this up here. I'm not that great with Roman numeral numbers. Sorry. But I think it was WrestleMania 7. I think it was.
I'm not good with the numeral. I remember 5. That's about it.
Yeah, WrestleMania. It was WrestleMania 12, actually. Okay. All right. It was WrestleMania 12 where he defeated on March 31st. That's where he defeated Vega at. At the first In Your House, Good Friends, Better Enemies on April 28th, Austin lost to Vega in a rematch. At the In Your House, Beware the Dog on May 26th, Austin lost in a Caribbean strap match to Vega. He feuded with Vega there for a while. And then in accordance with the pre-match stipulations, DiBiase was forced to leave WWF. giving Austin an opportunity to forge his own path. Later, Austin told announcer Doc Hendricks that he had purposely lost a match in order to rid himself of DiBiase, who in reality was headed to WCW. Austin soon thought the ringmaster idea was weak, so he asked for a change. The WWF gave Austin a list of names expired by the Iceman, Richard Koloski, including Odo Von Ruthless, Ice Dagger, Fang McFrost, and Chili McFreeze. Austin shaved his head bald and grew a goatee.
What are they at? Like Dairy Queen or something?
Well, no. Okay, this is where he's trying to come up with the persona of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay, he was in the midst of trying to come up with it.
So
yeah. So this is
you get what I was saying though.
What?
You get what I was saying though. What are we at? Dairy Queen?
That's pretty good.
But his gimmick really. Can you imagine coming to the ring?
What's that?
Could you imagine if he came to the ring? Hey, I got a T-shirt with a Frosty on it. With a smoothie. You know? Can you see that? Mr. Ice Cream. Actually, you know what? There are wrestlers like that nowadays. Kachara. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know.
Lost Ice Cream.
Yeah, we know about Kachara because we know what they do and what that promotion is, which is a great promotion. But
I just want to plug it right now. Shout out to them right tonight. Everett tonight is the Lions Cup tournament.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Shout out to Chikara Pro.
Shout out to them.
Yeah. Shout out to Chikara Pro. Now,
shout out to Jaden.
Yeah.
Jaden
also
Newman.
Jaden. Yeah, Jaden.
Also,
Newman.
Jaden is on there. Yeah. Jaden. Shout out to Jaden.
Yep.
Making his impact. I'm glad he got a spot on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to what we were talking.
Talking about the reincarnation. We're talking about the Dairy Queen names and stuff. Ice Dagger, Fang McFrost, and Chili McFreeze. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Yeah. Winner and your new WWF World Heavyweight Champion, Chili McFreeze. Oh man!
Ding ding ding. These ice cream sandwiches for all the crowd. All these flurries for everybody. We're gonna give you a coupon at the end of the show. Come by and try it today.
That's
Softy,
crazy.
Tasty treat. Softy, smooth tasting, freezy treat for all you fans. Before they came out with actually remember the ice cream bar with him.
Yeah.
You remember that? The ice cream bar.
Yeah, I remember that.
Stone Cold Steve Austin ice cream bars with the cookie. Oh, those were so.
Yeah.
Those. Oh,
I know.
Bring them back, Vince. If you're hearing us, bring them back. Or Triple H.
Yeah.
Please bring them
Bring back the ice cream bars.
We want them. We demand
CM
them.
Punk. Well, CM Punk tried to. We know he tried to. But all right, let's get back on track. We're jumping off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Now, Austin shaved his head and grew a goatee.
We always do.
While on March 11th, ringmaster Magandi, now a prefix to his ring name, would be discarded in favor of his most notorious nickname, Stone Cold. And how he got the name was he was sitting there, he was going through the list of names, temperatures that was given to him by WWF, and he's going through looking at it. His then wife at the time made some tea and told Steve, you need to drink your tea before it gets stone cold. And he said, that's it. Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the name basically was given. And it was, and also his persona of the new name was inspired by the Iceman, Richard Koloskin. Now, in 1996, the Austin era kind of begins. At King of the Ring, actually, in 1996, this is where the most infamous, promo, which was, like made everyone from around the world heard it. And I do want to play a little bit of this right here. Let me load this up here real quick because I wanna play this one little sound bite here. Okay. All right. So Steve Austin wins King of the Ring after beating Jake the Snake Roberts. Let me set this up here. Okay. Steve Austin, 1996, wins King of the Ring. Okay, in the tournament, he defeated Jake Roberts in the final. Okay. Jake Roberts at the time basically was born again Christian. So after the match, Austin cut one of the famous promos during his coronation and mocking Jake Roberts and everything, and with the new catchphrase that he basically personified there. Let me play a little bit of this here.
Come on, now whipped your ass.
Here we go.
316, and it didn't get you anywhere.
Here we go.
Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. Come on, that's not necessary. All he's got to do is go buy him a cheap bottle of Thunderbird and try to dig back some of that courage he had in his prime. As the King of the Ring, I'm serving notice to every one of the WWF superstars. I don't give a damn what they are. They're all on the list, and that's Stone Cold's list, and I'm fixing to start running through all of them. As far as this championship match is considered, son.
There we go. There you go. Austin 316 said, I just whipped your ass.
Stone Cold's list. Stone Cold's list. Stone Cold's list.
Yes.
Stone Cold's list. Hey, that's a new one. I like that.
Stone Cold's list. Yep. So the infamous promo and everything, and Steve Austin, the Stone Cold Steve Austin, Austin 316 was born. And throughout August, September, Austin spoke about Bret Hart, challenged him constantly and taunting him. Before Bret Hart finally returned on October 21st episode of Raw and challenged Austin to a match of Survivor Series, which he accepted. During the episode of Superstars taped on October 27th, his old friend Brian Pillman contacted him, conducted an interview with Austin regarding his upcoming match. After Pillman inventively complimented Hart, Austin grew angry and attacked Pillman, then proceed to wedge Pillman's ankle in between a steel chair and stomp on it in storyline, breaking his ankle, which would lead to the infamous, you know what that means, remember? It was one of the greatest moments on Raw. Brian Pillman, Brian has a gun. And we just lost David. Let's see if I could call him back. All right, let's call David back to the show. Let's call his ass back. We can get a hold of him again. David has a new microphone and camera, and he's using his laptop now. So I'm trying to get a hold of David. I just lost David. So let me go ahead and try to call him back again. I'm sorry. I figured we're going to have some technical difficulty tonight because David's trying out a new setup and everything. So let's go ahead and try to get him back on the line. See if we can get him back. If not, I'll wait till he calls me because the show must go on, ladies and gentlemen. The show must go on. And he's not picking up. So, you know what that means. We're going to go ahead and continue right there. So the infamous Brian has a gun. That right there was just great because it was one of those moments there where during the segment was Brian was at home. Okay. He was injured and Austin was saying, I'm going to come over your house. I'm going to whip your ass. And that's basically what he was going to do. So Brian basically had himself barricaded in his house, if you remember back then. And then there's David right there calling me back. Well, Mr. Russell, you've joined me again. Yeah. Well,
hey, sorry about that. There's a storm or something happening out. Texas Rattlesnake had a storm or something. I don't know.
Oh, great. That's great. That is just freaking great.
You okay?
But now I was talking about the infamous Brian Has a Gun. Okay. Now, Brian Pillman, okay, that segment there where he has the gun. All right. Austin is going to come over and he's going to whip his ass. Okay. All right. So, yeah, he's at home. He's waiting, for, excuse me. Pillman has a gun and he's sitting there waiting for Austin. Austin shows up and he comes barging in, and basically right before the cameras go out, he points the gun up and then the cameras go out. That segment right there almost got censored. I mean, by the USA Network. They basically flipped out about it, Remember that one? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah.
Pillman has a gun.
We sound so much better
Stone Cold
now.
Steve Austin outside.
Yeah.
He's been making his way around all the way to the back of the house,
You hear that?
screaming and yelling. Pillman's got this pistol out, and I don't know what the hell is going on here. This is ridiculous. Pillman's got this. What the?
Yeah, here we go.
Somebody call the police.
Steve's breaking in the door.
Gotta call the police.
Don't go in there.
We are
You
live.
can't.
This is live.
Power has been restored, Vince. Guys,
Yeah, we're live there, folks. This is live.
Yeah, Pillman's Got a Gun segment. It was on the November 4th episode of Raw, where Austin broke in. Yeah. Okay. Before the episode cut to commercial break, the segment was highly controversial for its perceived violence and rare use of profanity in WWF programming, with Pillman using the explicit bitch and fuck. The segment also credited for paving way for the WWE shift to move more to a more mature and adult programming. So at this Survivor Series match, in a match to determine number one contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Austin lost to Bret Hart when Hart used a turnbuckle to push himself backwards while locked in $1 Million Dream and pinned Austin. During the 1997 Royal Rumble match, Austin was originally eliminated by Hart, but officials did not see it, and he snuck back in the ring and eliminated Hart by throwing him over the ropes, winning the match himself. And this led to the first ever.
I remember that.
Yeah, remember that? This led to the first ever pay-per-view main event of Austin's career at In Your House 13 Final Four, where he competed in a Four Corners elimination match against Hart, The Undertaker, and Vader for the vacated WWE World Heavyweight Championship after Shawn Michaels relinquished the belt due to knee injury. Austin was eliminated early from the four-way match at the event because after injuring his own knee, and Hart would eventually go on to win the match and the championship. However, Hart lost the title the next night on Raw to Psycho Sid due to Austin's interference, which continued the feud. Okay, at WrestleMania 13, here it is, WrestleMania 13.
Match.
This right
I remember
here
this one.
was the determining moment right there of what happened, because this match basically it submitted and put Austin in as one of the on his road to being the top superstar. He was already hot. Okay, this right here basically submitted him as being the top guy. Because let me pull up some footage here. Ken Shamrock was a special guest referee, if you remember that. Austin comes out, and then,
Good old
during
Ken Shamrock.
yeah.
Man.
What's funny is I'm looking this on the YouTube channel here from WWF, and they basically black and white. They put it black and white right there where Austin starts bleeding. Okay, and here we go. Let me play this part right here.
Get some.
Here it comes right here.
Stone Cold stepping through. Frontier, turn on. Austin can't reach the ropes.
He's in the sharpshooter,
And who went back?
and he bleeds out. He freaking bleeds out right there.
Oh man, the blood.
Yep.
Shit. You know.
He's trying to get out. He is trying to get out. He keeps going and going and going. But Austin, in the I Quit match, he did not quit.
No, he didn't. I remember that.
He did not quit.
That was great.
He did not quit right there. Okay, Hart defeated Austin in submission with Ken Shamrock. During the match, Austin been cut and he bled and bled and bled, but he refused to tap out. Hart, after he was locked in the sharpshooter, he passed out from blood loss. Still held in the sharpshooter. I mean, he lost the match after the bell, okay. However, Austin betrayed the anti-hero, and with that right there, him being an anti-hero, that basically, instead of a traditional babyface, eventually he got revenge on Hart in the main event at In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker, defeating him in a match to determine number one contender to the Undertaker's WWF Championship. Austin won when Hart was disqualified due to an assistance from the British Bulldog, earning him a title match against the Undertaker at In Your House 15, A Cold Day in Hell. My headphone thing is like going in and out right now. I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix that there.
What?
My headphone thing. It keeps going in and out. It's going out and it's coming back in. It may be my battery.
Probably because your batteries need to be charged.
Yeah, it's probably
batteries need to be charged.
Yeah, it's probably my battery. But tell me why I changed the batteries in this headphones. Tell me about your thoughts about the feud he had with Bret Hart and the WrestleMania 13 match.
That match that's what I was bringing up before, I believe. Earlier I was saying about Bret Hart, how he, that was one of the technical matches that he had in his career versus Steve Austin. I mean, Bret Hart tangling up with Austin at WrestleMania 13. That was one of those pinnacle points of his career too. Also, just to see if he could test the limits. High water. And just that was from there, and that was a great match. But then,
there. Thank you. Much better, much better.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, Bret Hart. He was such a submission match and everything he did, and when going up against Steve Austin there, but from there on out,
I remember seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
From there on out, he feuded back and forth with Bret Hart until Bret Hart eventually left WWF and went over to WCW. And it wasn't until around SummerSlam, Austin was hot at the time. Okay, he was hot. He was climbing up the ladder there. What eventually happened was with Steve Austin was when at SummerSlam during that year, he was going up against Bret Hart. He was I believe he was the Intercontinental Championship. Austin and Hart faced each other over with Hart's Intercontinental Championship on the line, and add stipulation that Austin would have to kiss Hart's butt if he lost. But during the match, that's when things went south. That's when Owen Hart, if you remember, put Steve up in the pile driver, and he dropped him on his head. and basically legitimately broke his neck and temporarily paralyzed Austin. And that, from then on there, Austin was the same. So he couldn't really wrestle or anything. So he was able to cut promos and do stuff backstage. And then until on September 22nd, on the first ever Raw to be broadcast from Madison Square Garden, Owen Hart was giving his speech to fans in attendance. During the speech, Austin entered the ring, and NYPD officers showed up following the assault. And it looked like, Austin was going to fight off the officials. Vince ran into the ring to lecture Austin on why he couldn't be physically able to compete. And then after telling McMahon that he respects the fact that what he and the WWF cared, Austin basically told McMahon, it's one of my favorite things here. it's one of my favorite moments there. Where he gives, the stunner to Vince McMahon for the first time.
To the boss.
Yeah. To the boss right now. I mean, to like the first time. The first time he.
Do you remember the kiss? Remember when he had his kiss my ass match?
Yeah. Well, here we go. Here's the infamous promo right here. Okay. All right. Let me fast forward it up here. Okay. This right here. Here we go. Okay. There you go.
Working the system.
He's looking at Vince after Vince told him everything. Here we go.
You know as well as I do that this is what I do for a living. This is all that I do, and can't nobody tell I ain't the best in the damn world. Don't even say nothing. Don't say nothing. Sit here and tell me to work within the system. You ain't the one sitting on your ass in the house like I am. But if that's what it takes to make you or the World Wrestling Federation happy, hell, I feel like Cool Hand Luke. I'll work within your stupid little system.
Cool Hand Luke.
That's all these people ask.
I appreciate the fact that you and the World Wrestling Federation care. And I also appreciate the fact that, hell, you can kiss my ass.
Yeah. Kill it. Great.
Oh my God!
Right there, that moment. That was the moment that I cracked my ass up when that came out. That was great. That was like a pinnacle point. Also, like just classical. That started it.
I like it.
Vince McMahon. Do you believe it? Yeah.
I love that. Oh hell, Vince! You could kiss my ass. Stuns him. Oh my God!
They got away with it. They got away with that at WWE. It was a miracle. You know what I mean? How they got around those censors and all that back in, when that fashion. Oh, good boy.
I know. Yeah. I know. It was crazy. So that right there, that started the Vince McMahon and Steve Austin Stone Cold feud right there. That started the feud right there.
Yeah.
Okay, which went on and on and on. Okay. 97, like I said, after Bret Hart left, basically the only top superstar that was in the company at the time was Shawn Michaels. Okay, Austin in 1998 won the Royal Rumble, which he lastly eliminated The Rock. The next night on Raw, Austin interrupted Vince McMahon in his presentation because that's when the infamous Mike Tyson. Remember that, David?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna knock him out in the ring. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, man. What? Steve Austin.
There you go. Sound like Mike. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Tyson's listening right now because he'd probably come after you and knock you out, man.
Yeah, probably knock you out too. Yo, Everett Lee. I'm gonna come after you and give you a Stone Cold Stunner.
Give me a Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, I'll give you one. Time will tell, my friend. Time will tell.
Time will tell. Well, what I like to play right here now is that infamous Steve Austin, after this stupid ad gets done playing right here. This was great because Mike Tyson was introduced to the ring as the baddest man on the planet. He comes out and everything, and while he's out there with Vince, and Vince is talking about Mike Tyson being in the ring and stuff, that's when Stone Cold Steve Austin music hits. The crowd goes crazy. They go ape shit, and I like to play right here.
Stare down.
Yeah, stare down. Here it is.
Stare down. Yeah.
Here it is.
Why are you here?
Because I'm sick and tired of seeing Mike Tyson. He comes in, he's shaking everybody's hands, making friends with all the WWF superstars, and it's made me so damn sick I've been in the back throwing up.
Yeah, me too.
I ain't gonna shake your damn hand because I ain't out here to make friends with you. Mike, shut up. I respect what you've done in the boxing world, but Jesus Christ, son, when you step in this ring, you're messing with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's something you don't do.
Yeah, you're on a different planet now.
Let me make it short and sweet. What I'm telling you is I want a piece of Mike Tyson's ass.
Whoa!
I love it. He's looking at Vince. Shut up.
Don't say one word, Vince. I'll knock your damn lights out, too. I respect what you've done, Mike, but you're out here calling yourself the baddest man on the planet. Right now, you got your little beady eyes locked on the eyes of the world's toughest son of a
Edge.
Yeah, this is off of WWE YouTube right there.
I can beat you any day of the week, twice on Sunday. Do I think you could beat my ass? Hell no.
Sure.
Do I think I can beat your ass? Why, hell yeah.
Kid.
I don't know how good your hearing is, but if you don't understand what I'm saying, I always got a little bit of sign language, so here's to you.
Here it is, too.
All right, let me screenshot this right here. This right here was one of my favorite things to see because when he did this.
It's great, man. We gotta.
Oh my God! Right there, Steve Austin giving the double bird salute to Mike Tyson.
Double bird. Bird is the word. There it is.
Oh, that was great. That was great.
That is.
All right.
What time is it? Want to take 5? Go on our break, or are we
here just in a minute? Okay, here just in a minute. Let me get to this point here. I got a point here I want to get to, and then we'll hit our first break here.
Break.
Yes. Okay. So we all know the story, what happens with Steve Austin, okay? He goes on and he feuds with Shawn Michaels over the next few months at a shot at the WWE Championship, which he earned because he won the Royal Rumble. So he's the number 1 contender because at WrestleMania 14 that year. So basically, it comes out later that Tyson's in DX's corner. And Mike Tyson was then appointed as the outside enforcer for their match at WrestleMania 14. So Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels have one heck of a match. If you go back and watch that match, man, you can tell Shawn Michaels was in pain. And I don't know how the hell he got through that match, because shortly after, Austin beats Shawn Michaels and becomes the WWE champion, however the hell you want to call it. So he's the champion. Shawn Michaels leaves because of injuries with his back and years of punishment and all that. So Austin's the champion. So Vince decides to try to make Austin a corporate champion. And that didn't go well, because that following night on Raw, he had Austin trying to act and talk how he should be a champion. And Austin said, hell no, I'm doing things my way, the hard way, uphill, and that's the only way I know how to do it. And he basically stuns Vince again, and they start in on their feud, which we will start talking about here after we take our first break right here. We'll get into talking about the Austin McMahon feud. And we want to give a shout out to the sponsors of Podcast City Network. You can head over to podcastcity.net for the latest podcasts, such as the Deleted Wrestling Podcast, the Everett Show, Deathmatch Wrestle Podcast, Super Radio Brothers, the Best Friends Show Podcast, Final Score, and much, much more on podcastcity.net. And let's hear a word from our sponsors that support Podcast City Network.
The following support and sponsor Podcast City Network. City Limits Tap Room, sports bar in DeLand, Florida, has brew on tap, serve food, the grilled cheese is excellent. For upcoming events, check out City Limits Tap Room on Facebook.com/City Limits Tap Room. Atlantic Sounds has thousands of new and used vinyl records and CDs. If they don't have it, they can order it for you. Same location since 1982. For more updates on what's new, check out Atlantic Sounds on Facebook.com/Atlantic Sounds Vinyl. Sports Sanity Customs have worked with organizations from custom embroidering polo shirts to jerseys for your kids' baseball team. They do it all. Armed with state-of-the-art equipment and an in-house design team, they are equipped to take on your next project. Visit their website to learn more, sportsanitycustoms.com. Visit Sports Sanity Customs on Facebook.com/Sports Sanity Customs. 3 Count Design offers a wide range of graphic design products, video, photography and other forms of media. Everything from t-shirt designs to websites. Visit Facebook.com/3 Count Design for more. Demo Blast Studios, an explosion of imagination. Original artwork, podcasts, video, apparel and more. Visit demoblaststudios.com. Visit Demoblast Studios on Facebook.com/Demoblast Studios, the best family entertainment pro wrestling show in the state of Kentucky. Kentucky's Own Wrestling brings quality family vintage wrestling to a town near you. Kentucky's Own Wrestling offers a ladies division in wrestling and a training school. Kentucky's Own Wrestling is the current longest running Southern promotion. Visit Facebook.com/Somerset Kentucky's Own Wrestling. All supporters and sponsors are brought to you by Podcast City Network.
Welcome to the Deleted Wrestling Podcast. Enjoy the show. It's wonderful.
All right, we're back on the Deleted Wrestling Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. We're just about to get into talking about the feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mr. McMahon. The thing about that right there, that was great, because during that time, watching Steve Austin and McMahon each and every week, it made me want to see what's going to happen the week, next week, and next week after that right there, with what's Steve going to do next to McMahon. McMahon comes up with a stipulation or does something, makes Austin's life hard, has him thrown in jail, get arrested. The following week, what happens? Austin comes busting in with a fucking Zamboni, or he comes in with a beer truck, and he just makes life hell for Mr. McMahon. One of the things I liked about the Austin and McMahon rivalry was that during that time he got into a really good rivalry and some good matches against The Undertaker. And He went up against The Undertaker. He lost the belt. He dropped the belt. And one thing I liked when Steve Austin was champion, okay, he had that custom Smoking Skull WWF Championship belt, which was awesome. The back of it was snakeskin. You had the Smoking Skull on the front. Just an awesome looking title. And he basically got into a feud with The Rock, which, just started out with that goes back even before Austin became champion, back even when they were Intercontinental Champion. During when Austin was Intercontinental Champion, feuding with The Rock and going back and forth with that. But then in 99, around that time, okay, Austin, he held on to the WWE Championship until SummerSlam, where he lost it to Mankind in a triple threat match, which also featured Triple H, who was originally scheduled to win his first championship at the event, but Austin refused to drop it to him, believing Triple H was not over enough with the crowd yet. So Mankind was used as a transitional champion, dropping the title to Triple H the next night on Raw. And basically, right around when Survivor Series rolled around, it was supposed to be another triple threat match against Triple H and The Rock. But Austin was run down by a car in a parking lot. He underwent neck surgery from what happened with him at SummerSlam 2 years prior. Austin, he was gone for about 9 months, and they basically wrote him off TV. April 2000, Austin appeared at Backlash, attacking Triple H and Vince McMahon to help The Rock reclaim the WWE Championship. After Austin's official return at Unforgiven, Commissioner Mick Foley led an investigation to find out who really ran over Austin, which I thought was one of the baddest angles they did, which was Rikishi. I did it for The Rock. I did it for The Rock. So Austin whipped his ass at No Mercy in a no holds bar match. And, excuse me, Austin, he attempted to basically run over Rikishi with the truck. At the time, it was a bloody mess. Before he could, he was stopped by officials, and the match was deemed a no contest. Austin was kayfabe arrested and later bailed out by Commissioner Foley. During the handicap match against Rikishi and Kurt Angle, Triple H came down with attention to teaming with Austin. After clearing the ring, Triple H smashed the sledgehammer over Austin's head and revealed it was actually him who did the whole scheme devised to shield the WWF Championship from Austin and end his career. And at Survivor Series, Triple H had plotted to run over Austin down again during their match, but his plot failed when Austin lifted Triple H's car with a forklift and then let it drop 20 feet. Austin won his third Royal Rumble match January 2001 when he eliminated Kane. And his rivalry against Triple H went on and on. So there for a while, he was going on and on with having a rivalry with Triple H and The Rock. That went on quite a while there, David. And then eventually what happened was that after on and on with in 2002. In 2002, on the Royal Rumble January 20th, Austin entered at number 19 and lasted until the Final Four, but was eliminated by Kurt Angle. He returned to the ring and hit the remaining competitors with a steel chair on the 28th episode of Raw. He defeated Angle to earn a shot at Chris Jericho's Undisputed Championship at No Way Out. In the build-up to the No Way Out, McMahon had re-signed the New World Order, who immediately began to feud with Austin, if you remember that. Austin refused with the New World Order, which basically Austin was reportedly unhappy regarding Hulk Hogan's return to WWF. It was reported he was refusing to lose to Hogan in a proposed match at WrestleMania 18, while Hogan reportedly told Vince the same regarding losing to Austin. In recent years, Austin had to say that why the match never took place. Quote, "I guarantee you, if my head had been in a little different place, then by all rights, a match should have happened." He basically told JR, "Physically and mentally, where I was at, I could go. I think Hogan probably could have had had been a step or two behind that, that wasn't acceptable to me, and I didn't want to slow myself down. I say that with all due respect to Hulk Hogan because he had one hellacious run. I thought it was my thought process back in the day. I didn't think we could deliver. Consequently, the match was rebilled as The Rock against Hogan, which was infamous right there. The Hogan WrestleMania 18 match there, Hogan versus Rock, which was great. But
that was a match that I liked. I'm sorry to say, but that caught my. The blood was both guys were, the blood was pumping. The energy was there. Also another chemistry was there too. We would go back there and watch it again, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
My God, those hits. The forearms back and forth. And Stone Cold Stunner to end it.
Mm-hmm. I know, but I mean, if you look at it to there, okay, Austin had a match against Scott Hall, and it climaxed his feud with the NWO, and there for a while he took a long break. I guess he took a week break without the company's consent, and then of course on the April 1st, 2002 episode of Raw. In the first new brand extension era, the show was centered in which show he signed. He chose Raw. Austin interviewed with The Undertaker, and that resulted in the #1 contenders match for the Undisputed Championship at Backlash, which Austin lost despite having his foot on the rope when he was pinned. He would later be betrayed by Big Show, who went on to rejoin the NWO and Ric Flair. Austin defeated Big Show and Flair in a handicap match at Judgment Day. And then Austin, basically, he was put in a match against Brock Lesnar. Okay, all right. He was WWE rehired Eddie Guerrero for Austin to feud with, while also prepping for Austin to feud with Brock Lesnar. However, Austin balked at the proposition that he lost a King of the Ring qualifying match on Raw to Lesnar to ultimately walk out of the company. He left. Remember when he left, he said, I ain't losing to him. There was no build-up, so he left there for a while. He was gone for a long time. He finally, for the remainder of 2002, he kept a low profile, didn't make any public appearances or anything. Okay. Now, he comes back around 2003, 2004 in a non-wrestling role. Okay. And he was like the sheriff of Raw. He had to work with Eric Bischoff, which was great because of all this stuff that was going on and everything and stuff. But here's the thing. Okay. Now, basically, following months, Austin has been in a non-wrestling career with WWE. He began a fresh storyline. He thought, when he was brought back by Linda McMahon as Raw co-general manager. And he continued the storyline for the remainder of the year, still showing wrestling moves, including Stone Cold Stunner and several exchange punching kicks, although limiting regular, use. November 17, 2003, Austin was fired from Raw for the results of stipulation match Survivor Series, where Austin handpicked team wrestlers failed to beat Bischoff's team of wrestlers. After Survivor Series, Mick Foley would become the new co-general manager of Raw and began to petition to have Austin reinstated. Austin quickly returned, and he basically, his last match, okay, he became the special guest referee during the WrestleMania 20 match with Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. Both of them were leaving the company. And in there, basically, it was around 2005, okay, that Austin, okay, he basically, his last match was around, I guess, 2005. It was right around there, or it was shorter there. I'm trying to think if it was 2005, 2002, or 2004, right in there. Okay, here it was. All right, here we go. 2003. Okay, The Rock basically went up against Austin in 2003 WrestleMania. I believe it was 22, 23, somewhere in there. and it was Austin's last match. But there for a while, Austin was still on TV, but then he was like, he left. He didn't really return much on programming. He started making appearances here and there, and he did the Tough Enough thing, and he was doing that for a while after he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was the first person to be announced for the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2009, and he was inducted by Vince McMahon. And that was a pretty good speech that he did. He kept it short and simple, and he said, let's get out of here, and let's go drink some beer, damn it. What? But after that, I mean, Austin came back, made appearances and stuff there on WWE programming during, the watered-down PG era. And then, of course, at WrestleMania 30 on April 6, 2014, he was in the ring at the same time with two other big icons, Hulk Hogan and The Rock, which was awesome. And then Austin made an appearance on the October 19th of 2015 episode of Raw, introducing The Undertaker and promoting WrestleMania 32 event. Austin again appeared on Raw the following week, where he promoted the WWE 2K16 video game and a backstage segment. So basically, Austin had one hell of a career there. If you look at the championships and everything that he acquired and went through there, he had one hell of a career, and he was one hell of a wrestler there. If you ask me, okay, David, if you ask me, you say, who were the top guys that represented WWE? I'd say Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena. That's my 5 right there. That'd be the 5 guys. Stone Cold is in there because he was the top guy. He hit that Hulk Hogan status during the Attitude Era during the 90s. He was it. He was it. So basically, all I got to say is that the guy, the man, the Texas Rattlesnake, won a hell of a career. A lot of championships. Really did. Yeah. He won a lot of championships there.
So hell yeah, Steve Austin for that. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Now, hell yeah. I'll drink to that, son. What?
Oh yeah.
Now, with his championships, WCW, he was a 2-time WCW television champion, a 2-time United States WCW United States champion. He was a 1-time WCW tag team champion with Brian Pillman, the Hollywood Blondes. He won the WWE Championship 6 times, Intercontinental Champion twice. He held the $1 Million Championship once. He won the WWF Tag Team Championships 4 times with Shawn Michaels, once with him, once with Jude Love, once with Undertaker, once with Triple H. 1996 King of the Ring winner. He won the Royal Rumble in 1997, 98, and 2001. He entered the Fall Hall of Fame in 2009. He's a 5th Triple Crown champion, a 2-time Slammy Award winner, and at the Wrestling Observer newsletter, he basically was from 98, 99, best box office draw, best brawler 2001, best gimmick 97, 98, best heel 96, best interviews 96, 98, on. Feud of the Year 97 with the Hart Foundation, Feud of the Year 98, 99 with Vince McMahon, Match of the Year 97, Bret Hart and the submission match. And I mean, just it goes on and on with his career there. Now, here we go. I'm going to ask you here, what are your top 3 Stone Cold Steve Austin matches? Start with your number 3.
Number 3, boy, I'm going to have to go with the Stone Cold Booker T in the supermarket.
That's a moment there. That wasn't a match. That was a moment.
Oh, that was. Oh.
Yeah,
Oops,
we'll get.
Sorry, my bad.
You want to talk about moments or matches?
Oh, sorry. we already did his career. I don't know, whatever. He's done it all. We've seen it. I don't know. You're flying. These beers are kicking my ass. I don't know.
Am I have to carry your ass, son? Am I have to carry you all the way across the fucking desert and then right back? Put you on a horse with no names? What? Ain't gonna happen. You're gonna sit there, you're gonna talk in that microphone, and you're gonna give me your top 3 match by Stone Cold Steve Austin, son. Now give it.
Top 3 moments. or top 3 career, whatever matches. I'm gonna go with matches, whatever you're talking. All right, Russell, there. Do it. Give it right now. You ready?
All right, I'll start it then. All right, my top 3 matches.
I'm gonna go with Stone Cold versus. I think we already said Stone Cold versus The Rock would have to be one of the matches that we liked, and Stone Cold versus Triple H. Ooh.
All right, tell me about Stone Cold The Rock. Which match? Which one is that?
It's gonna be the Mania one.
WrestleMania 17 against The Rock. Oh, okay. That's a good one. Let me elaborate on that right there. That would be my number 3, actually. My number 3 favorite match right there. Because Steve Austin going up against The Rock, and this is the second time that at WrestleMania they went up against each other, because at WrestleMania 15 they wrestled and Steve Austin defeated The Rock, won the championship. Okay, you figured the same thing was going to happen. That is when Vince McMahon came out and he basically helped Steve Austin win. It's like, what the flippity flips going on here? Steve Austin and Vince McMahon working together, and that started when Austin turned his back on the crowd. Yeah, good match there.
It was.
What would be your number 2?
Stone Cold versus Triple H.
Triple H. Which
can't think of the match, but it was a really good. Yeah, it was a brawl match. I think it was a brawl match. I believe it was at. There's so many good brawls. I know. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. You probably know which one I'm talking about.
What? Well, I got his stuff right here. Okay. You're talking about Triple H. All right. You're talking about in early 2000 when he wrestled against Triple H?
Yes.
Okay, his rivalry with Triple H. Are you talking about Backlash or No Way Out or No Mercy?
Or which one was the? There were so many good ones. I was gonna say it was the Backlash.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Backlash on that one.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. We'll go with that one. All right. My number 2 favorite Stone Cold Steve Austin match, I'd have to say, would be on October 18th, 2001, when Kurt Angle put up the WWF Championship against Stone Cold Steve Austin on Monday Night Raw, where Stone Cold ended up capturing and winning the title from Kurt Angle that night. The title changed hands on Monday Night Raw. Kurt Angle was the champion, and Steve Austin, it was during that poor, watered-down alliance angle with the mid-cards from WCW. Remember that? When he turned his back on WWE, and he aligned himself with Shane and Stephanie on the takeover, trying to take over WWE, when Shane bought WCW and Stephanie bought ECW, and they were trying to run their dad out of business, and Austin ended up joining them, and Kurt Angle held the championship, and Austin went up against Angle on the October 18th, 2001 episode of Monday Night Raw there, and that's when he won the championship. Good match, really good. The crowd was behind Angle. They were hot, man. They were hot. And one thing I noticed about that match is Austin, he limited himself. He kept it simple with the moves. He didn't do nothing outrageous or anything.
I have my last one. I forgot. I'm going to tell you.
Well, let me wrap this up here. What I'm about to say, and then I'll let you jump in there.
Okay.
Okay. Now.
All right.
Yeah. It was great because he limited himself to so many moves, but he kept it simple. And after he kept it simple there, he ended up capturing and beat Angle and won the championship again. And that was a good match. I loved it. The crowd hated Austin. And the crowd was behind Angle. Your number one pick for his matches.
It's gonna have to be Austin versus Dude Love.
Really? That's an interesting choice there.
Yeah. That was a good over the edge in 1998.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that, man. Yeah, Dude Love and Steve Austin. Yeah, that's when Mick Foley brought out the Dude Love persona. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great.
Cool, huh? I know. I was like, let me think of one, and that was like the moment, That was the one of the matches I was thinking in my head, back of the head,
That's your favorite.
Finally.
That's your favorite.
That would be.
That's your top Stone Cold Steve Austin match there. Mick Foley against Dude Love.
But not really.
But
also just, I know, I love, exactly. But the technical match was, like I said before, Bret Hart versus Steve Austin, too. That was also technical.
Yeah.
Very technical.
That right there would have to be my number one match there. Would have to be WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart in the I Quit match. That right there. Because those guys, they took it to the limit right there. And that's when Steve Austin became got the name coined by JR.
Let me ask you this, Everett. Have you ever seen Stone Cold? Like at an event or house show? Or
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I seen
him.
I seen him back in at a house show in 2002. It was 2002. When I lived in Tennessee, people's probably heard me say this before and tell this story. It was at a house show when they did the brand split and when Austin was on Raw. It was a house show. It was Stone Cold main event, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Ric Flair in steel cage match. Steve Austin came out and he got in the cage. Ric Flair, before he got in the cage, he basically cut a promo and he put down Tennessee. He got booed and he looked over at some girl and said, I'll see you after the match, honey. Got in there and they just went at it. Arn Anderson showed up, got his ass kicked. Steve got Flair up on the top of the cage, banging his head back and forth, and then Flair just busted open, just bleeding, man. That bleach blonde hair turned to Kool-Aid color red. And Steve, as soon as Stone Cold gave him the double middle fingers and hit that stunner, the roof blew off the place of the Thompson Bowling Arena there in Knoxville. And he pinned him 1, 2, 3, and that's all she wrote. And it was one hell of a match, man. It was one hell of a match, one hell of a house show. And I don't really know how the house shows are nowadays.
Well, you know what? I got to see Stone Cold Steven make an appearance at SummerSlam 2007.
Nice.
In New Jersey,
awesome.
Of course.
That's great.
Came out of the ring. I think that's when Triple H was making his comeback. It was just off that knee injury. He was doing his knee injuries. Yeah. Came in the ring and just tossed beers to everybody in the crowd. I almost caught it.
Oh, that'd be awesome if you did. That'd be awesome if you did.
Yeah, right, but you'd have.
Now you mentioned earlier about moments. Okay, moments. Our top 3 Stone Cold Steve Austin moments. I'll start this one off. My number 3 top Steve Austin moment would have to be the Zamboni. The Zamboni. It was right after, I forget the pay-per-view.
No, man. Yeah.
Yeah. It was right after the shoot. I'll pull it up here, right here. Damn. Because I had it up here. Damn it. I don't have it. I forgot what pay-per-view was after. Okay. All right. Steve I guess Stone Cold was in a triple threat match with Kane and Undertaker. Undertaker and Kane both pinned Austin at the same time. He lost championship. Okay.
Yeah.
The following night, McMahon had Kane and Undertaker in the ring, and he was just trying to decide who he was going to give the championship to. And out of nowhere, here comes a freaking Zamboni. And McMahon, don't let him in here.
Don't let him in.
And he comes in, all right. He comes in with the Zamboni. He's dragging a freaking light that was in the back. He comes in. He hits the ring. He gets up. He goes across Zamboni, and I remember this. And he jumps in the ring. He attacks McMahon, beating him, and McMahon's sitting there.
That was a good time. That's good. That's funny.
Oh my God.
That was great.
It's so great. Man.
There's a couple times that Stone Cold's coming into the ring with a bus, like a bus and trucks and this and that. ATV, right? Remember that?
Oh,
He's coming into the ring on bikes, quads.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God, the Zamboni was great. The freaking Zamboni was one of my favorites.
Just the reaction of the face of Vince McMahon on that,
Yeah,
this is great.
I'm gonna try to pull it up here. Okay, all right. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, all right. Okay, there we go. You ready for this?
Do it.
All right.
Covered Stone Cold Steve Austin for the championship. The two of you who have had tremendous battle between the two of you. Austin. The two of you have gone at it. Tooth and nail.
That's a Zamboni.
Here, Vince. Here we go. Here it goes. Don't let him in here.
There he goes. Oh.
Don't let him in here.
Can you imagine if me and you were there at that event? Can you imagine if we were there? Like, we would be like,
God. Oh my God. I wish. What'd you say your number three? What was your number three favorite moment was? What was your number three moment?
Another moment was my third. My third would have to be Booker T and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let's go shopping. Let's go to the supermarket.
Yeah.
Let's go supermarket shopping. And actually, that angle there, man, like I told before on a previous podcast way back, that I, when that was playing during that show, I was actually at the Sunday Night Heat in New York City that night for Christmas when that was going worldwide.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know it. You know what I mean? It's great.
Oh man, that is great. That was on SmackDown, man.
Just the way
that was,
and also it's it was great. Just the way that it perspired. It was like just the way that Stone Cold was. Just
here we go. You're talking about the grocery store brawl. Here's the audio. You ready? Here we go.
Leave aisle 2 if I were you, sucker. Look at this! Steve Austin! What a hit from behind!
Beating up some old bald guy, man. He thought it was Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Booker. There he is. Yeah.
Uh-oh, not Austin.
It's not Austin. You heard the beer snap.
Austin! Austin attacking Booker T!
Stomping a mud hole in his ass.
Somebody better call the police!
imagine going shopping during that? Can you imagine going shopping? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, you imagine going into shopping market and
hey, honey.
Freaking.
Yeah. You want to pick up some diapers? Or something? We're gonna go grocery shopping and there's a wrestling match. There's a fighting brawling all over the place.
Yeah, here we go.
Come on, Booker. Flower, bitch.
Oh, no, here comes the flower.
There you go. Nice fresh cake.
You know what they say? Nothing says loving like something from the oven.
Get up.
Got him in the freaking shopping cart, beating him to the crowd watch. Oh my god.
Hit your eye like a big pizza pie. That's amore.
This is great. The way they did that.
Oh my god.
Awesome. Hey, Booker, you want some crackers?
That was
Slow
great.
me up. I like that part. That part was funny.
Oh damn.
Then you fast forward towards the checkout counter.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's your number 2 favorite Stone Cold Steve Austin moment.
Price check on Jackass, or whatever.
Price check on Jackass. What?
Yeah, that had to be my favorite. Like,
yeah.
Just the way. Can you imagine going shopping and like that going on? Like,
I know, man.
What would you do?
I know.
What would you be like? Honey, I'm just gonna go. We're gonna go get. I'm gonna get a bag of chips and. Oh, wait a minute. There's Steve Austin and Booker T.
Why did it take you forever to get back to the supermarket? The two guys were brawling in the supermarket.
I wonder how much money they spent. Who
knows, man? Who knows? But here's your favorite. Here's your favorite line right here. Here's your favorite line. There we go.
Price check on Jackass.
Save that clip.
Oh
save
my
that
god.
clip.
Oh
You
my
need to
God.
save that one.
Price check on Jackass. What?
Price check.
Yeah.
But
That's your number 2 favorite Stone Cold
Booker
moment.
T, let's give him a shout. Yeah, but let's also give Booker T a shout out right now. Be the Hall of Fame of Harlem Heat, my friend.
Yeah. Can you dig that? Sucker!
Harlem Heat making
I know.
Hall of Fame. Believe that? I can't believe it.
I would have to say, yeah, that would be right there. That would be my number 2 moment right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's my number 2 moment as well. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Booker T, and the supermarket there, supermarket brawl. In Bakersfield, California. That's where that took place at. That's my favorite. That's my favorite
really?
brawl. Yeah, that's where it was right there at the supermarket in Bakersfield, excuse me. But that right there would have to be my number 2 favorite one right there. But what would be your number 1 favorite Stone Cold Steve Austin moment?
There's so many moments of his career. I was watching back and I'm like, oh, one of my favorite was Vince McMahon and Ric Flair, right? Okay, they're in the box suite. You remember the fireman outfit?
Oh yeah, disguised as a fireman.
Yes. They wouldn't let him into the building for something. And it was great. I just went. That was great. That was my favorite.
Oh yeah, you're talking about this one right here. It popped up on the recommendation right here on the searches and stuff. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a fireman. I remember that, man. I remember that shit. That was some great stuff, man. I'm trying to play it. I'm trying to play it. Okay. All right. I'm fast forwarding it. Okay. Here we go. All right. Where are
that
we?
was a good angle. I remember that one. That was great.
Here we go. Okay. I'm trying to find out.
Because he's running up the steps.
Yeah.
Because he's running up the steps.
Here we go.
No fire here to investigate. There's not a damn thing. What you saw was just a little something over here. You know something? You firemen are no different than the cops. You know what? When you need them, You're not around. When you don't want them, you show up and you give us a bunch of crap. There's not a damn thing wrong with any of this.
Hey! It's Stone Cold! Stone Cold! This guy's to the fireman! Rattlesnake alert! Rattlesnake alert! Austin beating the hell out of Booker T in that skybox above the arena! And Booker T running for his life! Austin in pursuit of Booker T! But they are here! It's like Booker T running like a scalded dog! And he should be running! He kicks off to the undisputed title twice this week!
Oh my God. That is so great.
Yes, that was
I
a good
forgot
one.
about that, man. I fucking
know.
forgot about that.
I know,
Oh
that
my
was a good one.
God.
Another Booker T moment, but a hilarious build up from,
I gotta add this. I gotta add this to that. Remember when he was in the bingo hall hiding from Stone Cold, and you know how bingo they're doing like B2, and then he's sitting there playing bingo, and he was sitting there, making the women that he was sitting next to. He was sitting there, he was stealing their bingo cards, and he's sitting there trying to win and stuff. And then the person that was saying the numbers and stuff, all of a sudden you hear, hey, as in Austin 316. And Booker looks up and he's like, all the time.
Right. I remember that. Oh my God.
That was great. But I'm going to have to tell you, my number one favorite moment of Stone Cold Steve Austin, my favorite moment of him would have to be the infamous bedpan to Vince McMahon over the head.
Oh yes, in the hospital. Oh.
Yes.
Surprise.
I got the clip right here. Here we go. Right here. Let me get it right here where it's supposed to be at. All right. Let me get it. Okay.
Looks just fine to me. How about you, doctor?
Oh, I'll take it from here, nurse.
Get him off me! Get him off me!
Take your stupid push system off, huh? How about your foot? You like that? How do you think?
That sounds familiar. Everett.
I know.
Wow.
Oh, there we go. Let's hear that sound one more time.
Yeah. It does sound like something that you know. From your past. Oh
my God.
If only Chris was here to hear this.
Oh my God. I love it.
It sounded perfect, didn't it? Like,
boom. Oh my God.
Send that to Chris.
Oh my God.
Save that video and send that to Chris later.
There we go. He's punching his foot because it was in the cast.
I know.
Because of Undertaker and Kane, they took the steel steps so he was in the hospital. I'm gonna hear it one more time. Here we go.
Dr. Austin, calling Dr.
Seriously. Does sound like wow. It's like they stole a gimmick from you. How dare them almost.
God. No, my favorite part here. My favorite part right here. Out of all this, what he does with the IV. Here we go.
Help me, please! I know it's gonna hurt me. You piece of trash!
He shoves the IV up his ass. Oh my God.
That was great.
It was great.
I'll take that as my last one. I'll take that as my last one too.
That's your last one right there. You're the same one.
That'd be my last one. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to tell you, the beer truck was gonna be my favorite one. That is still my favorite one. When he comes in with the beer truck, there's so many great moments. The beer truck is my favorite one, where he comes in with the beer truck and sprays down McMahon, Shane, and the fireman's great. The cement truck to the Corvette. Oh God, that was just so fucking great right there.
Yeah, the supermarket brawl.
Yeah, the supermarket brawl. You know? There is so many to pick from. That it was just so great. But that right there, that had to be my favorite moment. God rest my dad's soul, my father. That was his favorite. He loved that scene more than that was his favorite scene right there, which was mine.
I can't believe like that. That one sounded just like a blast from the past. If people don't know what we're talking about, go ahead. You want to tell them? Go ahead. We were talking about this one. The boom. If they don't know, that was a bell sound.
That was actually the sound. That was the sound of a real bedpan, man. That was a real bedpan. Yeah. Vince told him, "Hit me with that thing," and he was like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, Vince was like, "Hit me with it." Okay, boom.
Yeah. What that sounded so familiar to me. Like that sounded like the ringing of the bell from your old. Like,
I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of the Everett show.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Speak into the microphone when you speak to me, son. What? You know what I'm going to do one day? I'll tell you what I'm going to do one day. You know how you get those calls, bill collectors, or you get those spam calls about stuff? I'm going to do it as Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm going to tape it. Because when they call me, I'm going to be like, "What? Did you just call me? What? Do I want what? What? How about I jump on my four-wheeler, I drive my ass all the way where you're at, and then I will stomp a mud hole in your ass and walk a try if you call this number again, son. What?"
Well, if this call comes through, it's a solar panel. I don't give a shit about. Solar don't matter. No. I don't know.
You know what I just realized? I think to us we sound great, sound like Steve Austin, but we don't.
No. Sometimes
because there's only one Stone Cold Steve Austin. And right now, we just want to say to everyone, thank you for viewing, and thank you for watching tonight. And before we go, I want to mention that this coming Wednesday. Well, actually, you know what? Before we do close out, David, do you have any last words you want to say about the man, the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin?
I'm just gonna raise my cold beer, give the man a hell yeah, and you know what? He's just had a good career. Oh, but not only a good career, but also do not remember fans to check him out online on the Stone Cold podcast as well.
Yeah,
because he's had some really good guests in the past months or two. You know, he's had a couple of my guys that I know in the business too. So check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Log on and check out. You know, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, definitely.
And shout out to his beer too. You know, his beer's great too. Have one of those brewskis that he always advertised. You know.
Yep. But, definitely. Now, what do you got going on this week for Deathmatch Wrestle podcast? Any guests coming up?
You know what? I showed you something earlier, didn't I? On my phone.
I think you did, though. But to go ahead and refresh my memory right here before we close up.
I know. I got to go back and. Well, I'm going to be talking to this guy. Actually, I'm going to be talking to Joe Russell. right? I think Russell. I don't know how to spell that. Say it. I'm just going to say Joe Russell.
Right.
Russell. How do you spell it? Whatever.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't checked you out lately, but yeah, you've had a little bit to drink tonight.
I'm going to be talking to him on my show. We're going to have him. He's a collector. He's owns a collecting wrestling collective memorabilia, as well as works alongside of stars and much more. That's what he's all. Talk to him and see what's going on, because he's been to some shows that I've been to.
Right.
And I just never say hello.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to talk with him.
Okay. Awesome.
And then nothing happening this weekend.
Nothing.
Saturday, just Saturday's big event, WSU's women's wrestling super show. It's gonna be awesome.
Nice. Yeah, now, this week on the Everett Lee Show, coming up this Wednesday night on March 20th at 9 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/Podcast City Network, I will have Kentucky's Own Wrestling Women's Champion, Harley Fairfax. She will be on the podcast coming this Wednesday night. So tune back in for the Everett Lee Show this Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on twitch.tv/Podcast City Network. And you could follow more Podcast City Network over on podcastcity.net, your top source for independent podcasts. Head over to podcastcity.net for shows like this, the Deleted Wrestling Podcast, the Everett Lee Show, Deathmatch Wrestle Podcast, Super Radio Brothers, and much more on the network. You can follow Podcast City Network on Facebook, Podcast City Network, over on Twitter at Podcast City Net. Subscribe to Podcast City Network's YouTube channel for the latest podcast. And also hit us up here and follow us on Twitch right here at Podcast City Network on twitch.tv/Podcast City Network. And I believe that is it for the Deleted Wrestling Podcast. Before we go, David, let's hold our glasses high for Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Everett Lee signing off. Thank you for tuning in to the Deleted Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you again next time for another episode of the Deleted Wrestling Podcast. Peace.